Welcome to Property Pursuits. We have a guest here today.
How are you doing? I'm JP.
He's a nice guy. He looks a little intimidating sometimes. Sometimes he can get a bit abrasive, so we'll see how this goes.
Abrasive is a fair word.
No, I think that's actually a bit too harsh. What would I say about you?
I'm very matter of fact.
Well, do you want to repeat the joke you just told us?
No.
Because that would really give the idea.
I made you all laugh, but I'm not going to repeat that joke.
Do you want to tell us about 18 on Lakeside?
18 on Lakeside is an exciting new project that we have coming on. It's just off the corner of Lakeside and Peckham. There will be 18 townhomes. As Reno's changing and evolving, we have to kind of fit the need. People want to live in town.
Yes.
And the affordability becomes a question, and then so we've thought a little forward. We did a similar project like this on Cash Hill, but this one's better. We got to actually raise the roof, give you 9-foot ceilings. These units will be from 2,000 square feet to just under 2,300 square feet, 3 bedrooms and 2-bedroom units, all electric, exceptionally efficient units that are made to be quote unquote mainly green, and in addition to that, we also gave you guys, whoever buys it, a pickleball court. Pickleball and garden area where you can have picnics, fake grass to let the dogs run around in the area. It's just a fun, exciting project that we have going on.
What's the zip code on it?
It's 89509.
So building an 89509 is no small feat, because that's like, central, old Reno, the people who don't like density, but really don't like that housing is not affordable in Reno. So you guys must have had an uphill battle to get this thing approved and zoned.
It's been a project. Yeah, but we did follow the master plan that Reno did redraw. But then to go through that and get it to the entitlement of 18 units, the neighbors they were actually pretty excited for it. But going through the process was a big process.
Because whoever lives there, it's going to be great for the businesses right there, right next to Delitown, for the Pilates studio, for everyone in that area. Having young professionals who I think are really the demographic, maybe divorcees, moving in there. It's going to be great for all that area.
It's going to be great, and it's so walkable. I mean, you can walk to Paulo's Deli, you can walk to Palace de Jade, you can walk to La Cucina, you walk to Joseph's Bakery, it's 7-Eleven and Delitown, there are gas stations. Everything is so walkable that you can, and I mean, you walk down to Virginia Lake and over to a grocery store. It's just
perfect.
It's a great place to want to be.
And you pop down Moana. You can get on Moana.
I do have Hawaiian nieces, and they would all say, "Uncle JP, it's Moana. It's Moana." So I've always said Moana, but
I said Moana too until the movie came out. Yeah. Then you go down. You can get on the freeway right there.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that it's really cool because it gives people the opportunity to live in that area and not have to have a single family residence with a big yard and a lot of maintenance. It allows for a different lifestyle in that area that there's not really a lot of other choices for yet. But I think there's a growing need of people coming to Reno or people getting older who aren't getting married and starting a family in their 30s and would love the townhome living lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, townhome living's not going to be for everybody. But it is for a lot of people where you can turn the key, walk away, and go travel. You can turn the key, walk away, and go to the golf course. Turn the key, walk away, and you don't have to deal with anything. You deal with what's inside.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a townhome, so technically you own the outside, but it's also in an HOA, so it's ease of life.
Sandy knows the beautiful thing about townhomes.
The lock and leave or the better interest rate pricing?
The better interest rate pricing?
I was like, lock and leave's pretty sweet, but so are those interest rates.
Because they get priced like a single family residence,
exactly.
And they don't have to go through the painful underwriting process of a condo.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about ownership issues with lending.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You guys can scan that QR code to learn more about the project. We'll come back to it actually in a little bit. But let's talk about the jobs report for a minute. I have to move all your shiny faces so I can see my notes. So there's this weird thing going on. We were talking about conspiracy theories with the election, but there's like something going on with the market because, my flight. I gotta check in for my flight, guys. Pause.
Most important thing out there. Shivani has to check in for her flight.
Specifically for the Forward event?
that I'm not going to, but I should be going to.
Yes.
B1, guys. Okay, we can talk now. So PCE, personal consumption expenditures, this came in a couple weeks ago, and we were all like, it was hyped up to be quite the panty dropper for the market. Like, we were expecting that there was going to be a huge rally in bonds after this happened, but it didn't, because the season finale of the United States took place on Thursday night, and the markets froze. So then we got the number I wanted on PCE, and bonds did nothing. Nothing.
So why do you mean this? What's the season finale of the United States? I want you to emphasize that. What exactly are you talking about there, Shivani?
The debate freaked everybody out on Thursday night, and then...
But who's got a better golf handicap?
I don't care. I care about PCE and bonds and my interest rate reaction, okay? I was banking on this thing. I was floating into it. I didn't get screwed because nothing happened. But then, same thing, jobs report last Friday. Jobs report comes out, and I had talked to you guys last month, or maybe it was the month before, I don't remember. But I explained about how when unemployment hits 4%, that puts the Fed in a corner because the Fed has a dual mandate. They've got to keep inflation under control, but they've got to support the labor market. So when unemployment hits 4%, then they're kind of like cutting their nose off to spite their face, and they need to stop being so restrictive. So we all expected that when that number came out, we would see a big reaction from bonds. Number came out, no reaction from bonds. So I know that everybody's hyped up on conspiracy theories right now. I'm just going to add one more. The market has already built in 2 rate cuts this year. And so we're not going to see, like, interest rates that Sandy and I are pricing and quoting to people today already price in 2 cuts to the Fed funds rate. So when those actually happen, we don't see a lot of movement, and we don't actually see a big difference in mortgage interest rates until 2025. That's my theory.
And then the interesting thing too is right now is a better time to buy.
Because you can negotiate.
Because you can negotiate. And if the rate's high, the rate might be a little high, but you're buying to affordability. What we saw when the rates dipped a little bit this year, the prices went up.
And competition.
So, because there was competition. So there was really no savings to the consumer. It's, do you want to give the seller more, or do you want to give the bank more? Me personally, I'd rather give the bank more, because if the rates drop, I can refinance out to get the bank to where I need it to be.
Right.
Not necessarily refinances are expensive, but
No, they're not.
they're not expensive. But there's a cost.
Yours sure haven't been, have they, JP?
No, mine haven't been.
Yeah.
But there's a cost to them. But at the same point, if you're buying now, you're at least protecting what you're buying, and you know you can afford it. And then it just gets better if the rates go down.
I agree. I like how you said you're buying to affordability.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard it said like that before. Agreed. They may not come down this year, and it's not the end of the world. It's still a great time to buy.
When I was buying my first house, I thought I was stealing it at 7.5%. But I'm old. That was in 2000.
I was going to say something mean to him about...
I deserve a lot of meanness.
But I'll just leave it alone. I'll just move on. Okay, Sandy, is the real estate market dead, or is it on fire?
Depends who you ask. Interesting question. No, but it really does. And this market has been really interesting. When you look at the stress it's put on real estate professionals, lenders, realtors specifically, and interestingly enough, also appraisers, if you ask one person, they could say, oh yeah, it's dead. No one's buying. Nothing's happening. I'm looking for other jobs. And then you could ask an entirely other person, and they're like, I can't keep up. I'm so busy. I'm hiring. Like, life is crazy. My hair's on fire. So
Totally.
It's just interesting to see what the difference is. And there's 2 real life appraisers that we talked to, and one of them is, so let me back up. Lenders have to order appraisals through a third party. This is all by regulation to keep the appraisals neutral. So we have to use this third party. They charge a fee, $50 to $100 typically, and then the appraiser charges a fee, and then that combined is what the client pays. Now that volume has gone way down, it's interesting because some appraisers are agreeing to do the appraisal for less, let's say $350. Well, the AMC appraisal management company is still charging the same amount. It's still $550, but now they're making more. They're keeping that extra $200.
They increased their margin significantly.
Yeah.
So when we were getting pressed during, so like 2020, sometimes appraisals were like $1,000 on a like track home where the comps are so easy. But it was supply and demand, right? The appraisers were running around with their heads cut off. They couldn't do the orders fast enough, so they'd say, fine, I'll do it, but it'll be $950. And then the AMC was like, we can't tack much more on this, so we'll tack 50 on, and it's going to be $1,000 to the client.
Yep.
Now
the AMC gets to play the game on their terms.
Yeah, but then you have the appraiser. Joe isn't busy at all because he won't lower his prices. But now there's a lot less volume to go around, so he's just not working. Whereas the other one is like, okay, well, I'll do it for $350, and they're just swamped.
So if you talk to Joe, he will tell you the real estate market's dead. No one's buying because I'm not getting any orders for appraisals. But it's because the AMC isn't calling Joe.
Because he hasn't dropped his fee.
Because he refuses to drop his fee.
Mm-hmm.
But the same thing. So clients are getting misinformation. I have an attorney call me and she says, every realtor I talk to says everything's dead. None of their listings are moving. I'm like, that's really weird because we're closing a lot of loans this month.
That's really strange.
But this is what's happening is that they told us that business was going to be spread differently after a market cycle that we just went through. And it's materializing, but it's dangerous for people out there on the outside of the industry.
Yeah, so I got curious about mortgage application volume, so I pulled this little chart. So you can see in March of 2020.
Sandy will always go to the numbers. She will not.
Sandy likes the numbers.
She will not go off hearsay. She will not go off gut feelings or instincts. She's going to look at the numbers.
What is it? But you can see the peak in 2020, and then the drastic decline now that we're seeing in basically all of this year and most of last year, all of last year too. So just under half of lending professionals have left the industry, and realtors are leaving. And so that's just, again, we won't speculate on why listings are sitting or not, but
There's no sense to why listings are sitting or not. I mean, I can put a house on the market that I think should go tomorrow, and I can put a house on the market that that's going to be a tough sell. The one that was a tough sell is the one that sold, and the one that I thought should have gone on the market, should be gone, that's a value, is still sitting. This market is a little strange.
We try to make trends and we try to make generalizations, but the truth is a house sells when the right buyer shows up with the right amount of money.
Yep, ready to go for it. But yeah, it's very interesting, and so that's why you'll see different professionals who are super swamped and helping clients, and then others who are not. It's all about communication and relationship building and being the best value for the client.
And I think we got in a market in 2001 that everybody was scared to negotiate on. I'm not telling you to write a ridiculously low offer, but if you like something and it's sitting, don't be scared to write what you think it might be worth. A conversation is what we all need to have. It's not nothing's set in stone. Don't be scared to give your suggestion of what it's worth. Can you two come together in the middle and make something? Who knows, but I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, a house is worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
And you have nothing to lose.
It's not insulting. I get more buyers that are like, I don't want to insult them. Insulting them is not writing them anything.
Right.
Just give a suggestion. It's better than the insult.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think so too. We have clients that were making offers and they were from out of state, and so they're not as familiar with the market, and they wanted to lowball. And we brought up the same thing. He's like, I don't want to insult anybody, but I want to pay what I think this house is worth, and I kind of want to get a deal on it because it's been sitting for a while. And it's true. This is not about insulting people. It's about numbers. It's about putting together a deal. And I think seeing their house, loving it, and not making an offer, that's an insult too. So you're right. Every house is its own market. Right. We say that to ad nauseum. But I think the takeaway is it's not that the same volume of business is happening. Sandy's graph shows that. There's certainly less business happening. But what's interesting is that it's being spread amongst even less people. And that's why who you talk to matters. Now, what would happen? Let's get real juicy now. What's going to happen to the housing market if Biden gets elected versus if Trump gets elected?
Now you're looking at me.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
That would give you no prep to answer. So here's my theories. Biden, he's got this tax credit thing, right? If you sell your starter home, he'll give you a tax credit to move up to a new home. He was trying to create inventory, unlock the golden handcuffs. people are scared of higher interest rates, so they stay trapped in a house they don't love. If I give them a tax credit, they'll get out of that house. But then, as well-intentioned as that was, those people become buyers then. So they don't solve the inventory crisis.
They don't solve the inventory crisis at all.
Then they are now buyers fighting for the same number of homes. It's a one-off trade.
Yeah, and the tax credit's great, but if I own a house at 2%, even if I want to move, if I can afford it, why would I want to sell that house? Somebody's paying me
You should keep it
on a 2% loan. It's a really hard place to be. So do I keep it and live in it, or do I keep it, rent it, and move up? I mean, that's all an affordability question for everybody. The tax credit can help some, but is it the greatest thing in the world?
No. What is cool about him is that he's pro multifamily and he's pro density. And so he wants to develop more. He wants us to put more, apartment buildings, more housing, more condos, more multifamily projects.
More townhomes.
Yes, exactly. In city proper where people want to live, which I agree is what we need the most. And I think, my personal opinion is, more homes at any price point helps with affordability. Even though no one's going to say that we're releasing 18 on Lakeside to help first-time home buyers because they're not shopping at this price point. But more inventory at any price point is more inventory, and it helps. The problem is with Biden, he's pro multifamily, which I agree with, and he's pro density, but he's pro tenant. So the people who are going to develop those are not inclined to do more development based on his platform because he's very pro tenant. And as we're seeing right now, developers, landlords, investors, they're not stoked to go into those type of cities or areas, right? We're seeing this with Nevada with the rent control being proposed and fought fiercely. People don't want that kind of regulation. The people who are going to build the houses that Biden wants to see don't like the rest of his policy.
No, because it's got to be an open market. You have to have, it's a market. I don't want to rent to X. Not that they're profiling, but it's X in dollar wise. I don't want to be rent controlled because I should be able to make money. But if the market turns and I have to go lower, then that's also my risk.
Well, because
we're taking the entrepreneurial spirit out of America with this policy.
Right, you're a business owner as a landlord. You have expenses, you have things that might happen. Your house might catch on fire and now you're at a loss for rental income. Yes, your insurance policy probably covers that, but things happen that you have to cover. Your tenant moves out and you can't find a new one for months. You're paying all the expenses of that property. So, yeah, it's exactly the entrepreneurial thing you were saying.
Trump, on the other hand, his Make America Great Again in 2024 came out, his platform, and there's this cool part in there about opening up federal land to be developed for housing, which is interesting in Nevada where 80% of our state is federal land. But then, does anybody want to live out there?
Well,
is that really going to solve the problem when people have to live 90 minutes from their job in Reno?
Yes and no. I mean, we've become almost a bedroom community to the San Jose, San Francisco area.
What's that mean, bedroom community?
There's a lot of people that are coming here that are living here that can still work in the Bay, either commute via computer.
Bedroom community?
Uh-huh.
Why
this
not
is where they're living.
Commuter community?
Yeah, or
where does bedroom
remote?
Because they're sleeping here.
Oh, okay.
You know what they do? They sleep here. They live here. I don't like the word commuter because that means you're sitting in your car forever. But you could say
worker.
Salesman at heart.
You could. I mean, look at Red Hawk. Red Hawk was way out in the middle of the sticks when it was developed. It was way out in nowhere.
True.
Now it's not that far.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of lifestyle out there. You got a Costco, you got a Home Depot, you've got grocery stores. They're getting a Trader Joe's and Winco. I mean, yeah, you need 3,000 roofs to start building commercial. But it all starts to happen. So when you release it, it's far out to the middle of nowhere. Does Fernley become does that start getting developed in between? Because there's a lot of federal land in between there. Is it far? It is today, but is it far in 20 years? Probably not.
Do you know the problem with both of these guys? They're
both old?
Well, okay. Do you know one of the problems with both of these guys for housing specifically is the tariffs, because Chinese steel, Canadian lumber, neither of them is really that great at being, well, one of them's very bad at being friendly with other countries, and the other one ran on removing tariffs and then put them back into place. That makes the cost of housing higher, and it's inflationary, which is not good for interest rates. But the takeaway I want everyone to have is that actually none of what we've talked about matters, because housing, real estate, that's a very local issue. You should pay attention to your local candidates and what their platforms are come election season, because that's really what's going to impact housing in your area.
Okay, this month's success story goes right into our pointer of the month. We recently had some clients do a debt consolidation. We talked about the really amazing interest rate, 2-3%. People get really proud of that. And yeah, it's awesome that you refinanced or bought at a really low interest rate. But we need to look at the whole financial picture and what other debts do you have? Student loans, car loans, whatever it may be, business loans. Anyway, we just did a debt consolidation refinance, got out of the 3% interest rate, but the monthly budget improved by $1,752 per month.
Wow.
Their cash flow is that much better.
Yeah, rolling everything together because we need to look at the household blended rate. So basically that calculation is done on what are the debt amounts for each account, whatever it is, what interest rate are you paying on that account, and then how does it blend together to create one interest rate encompassing the total cost of all your debt. So it's a good thing to know. And if anyone has questions on whether an analysis or whether a debt consolidation through HELOC or a refinance makes sense, we'll run the numbers for you and we'll tell you don't do it, or yes, it definitely makes sense.
You could be super proud of your 2% interest rate, but then I also need you to be proud of your 20% interest rate on your credit cards. If you're going to be proud of this, then be proud of that, and you can't be proud of that, so we should probably just solve the problem. A lot of people are in a lot of debt right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing, so like we went to buy our Oogie Boogie tickets, which I know everybody was really worried. We got them. Thank you for your concern and prayers. Last year when we went to go buy these, it took 2 days. It took years off the end of my life. It was so stressful because so many people were trying to buy them. They're released like Burning Man. Like you get put in this black holding room and then you get let in.
You got to be special.
No, you just got to be patient and psycho and have 15 screens up. This year we got in 20 minutes and got our tickets, piece of cake. 2 different family members got in. Like people must have. Neil was at Disneyland the weekend before and he said it was empty on a weekend. They asked their VIP host and he told them that it's busier during the week because it's cheaper now. I mean, it's always been cheaper, but people are choosing to go during the week.
But Disneyland is of no value. I mean, it's expensive.
But I'm saying people will have less money.
Yeah.
When you're seeing less people try to buy tickets to Oogie Boogie, 4th of July in Almanor, we went up to the restaurant, which is the beauty of Lake Almanor, that you can boat up and get a buoy on the 4th of July at the restaurant at Plumas Pines. But there was no one there. We were the only table.
Seriously?
Yeah. Granted, it was 11, but we were the only table the whole time we ate. And then you go to the concert, which is free, and it's jam-packed. So I think people are running out of money. I've been saying this, I know, for 6 months, and everyone's like, shut up, Shivani, they're never going to run out. But they are eventually. They will have maxed their credit cards. When Lee was on the podcast, he said he'd gone to a couple listing appointments where the people were going to be trapped because he locked their house so bad. So I think that people are pulling out all the stops to maintain their lifestyles, and now we're going to start seeing inflation come down because there's no money left to spend. They're finally having to stop spending the money.
I was just talking to a financial advisor who said that they're anticipating that's going to be the trigger of the refi when the spending catches up with everyone, and that'll cause a recession that we've been waiting for.
So what does that mean for housing? I mean, like, if there is a recession, interest rates come down. We see a lot of people who have the money still come back into housing. I don't see home values dipping. Do you?
I don't see home values dipping in this area. We've still got a lot of demand of people that want to be here. I mean, we've still got so many jobs that are coming here. Thank you, Edon.
Yeah.
We're growing, and most of us don't understand how much we're growing. Go read the Edon reports.
Sandy does.
The jobs that are coming here, I don't see prices truly going. Could they stabilize and stay somewhat flat? Possibly, but I don't see a dip in this area.
Well, especially not if, right? Because when the recession happens, the Fed lowers interest rate. That's one of their tools to stimulate the economy again. but that immediately stimulates housing economy. So like you said, people with money who are coming back in, or first-time home buyers whose jobs are solid, are like, oh, I'm catching my break, let's go.
They could be catching their break because they didn't get into a ton of debt. They didn't have that 2% interest rate making them feel rich. They didn't leverage their house because they didn't have one. And so they've been waiting. And that could be a big demographic of buyers who finally get their time to shine. Back to 18 on Lakeside, though, on July 18th at 18 on Lakeside, we're doing an event at 4 o'clock. You can come learn how to play pickleball on a private pickleball court and tour the new luxury townhomes. So scan that QR code if you want to RSVP. You can also show up and not RSVP. And if you show up, you also have the opportunity to donate $25 to Cancer Community Clubhouse, which is an amazing local charity. So really, there's no reason not to come.
Come by.
Free food, free drinks, support a good cause.
You've got a guy that's going to teach you how to play pickleball if you want to learn. Paul Lamb, who's a local Reno guy. He's funny. He's 52 years old and he's got a mohawk, but he's full of energy and loves to. That's all he does is give lessons.
Pickleball already. If
you think you're good, he'll help you get better, or you can challenge him, because that's all he does is play pickleball and tennis all day long.
But you do need to come dressed to impress. I want you wearing your finest country club pickleball attire.
Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, is that athleisure wear? Is that Lululemon went bad or good or bad, or what is that?
I believe it is just tennis attire.
Okay.
Yeah, like the little dresses with the low waists and like the pleats and all that.
Okay.
I made a video about it and I tried to wear my cute new workout outfit.
That was cute.
Neil said it was a thirst trap.
On
that note,
darling.
Work with family. Highly recommend it.
Family's fun.
I can't imagine if I was related to you. If you have questions for us, guys, and you want to chat, you want to go over your specifics, or you want to talk about the economy, whatever conspiracy theory we're stirring up this week, you can use this QR code to schedule a one-on-one meeting with us, and we'd love to chat with you. Otherwise, we'll see you next month.